Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Brittany and I am on a mission to hit 5,000 subscribers. So make sure you click that button below. I would appreciate it. So in today's video, we're actually going to be talking about customization in regards to baby blankets. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. All right, so I was actually recently just provided this baby blanket that we're gonna go ahead and add a custom baby name to it. So I will be showing you a clip of me picking out fonts and fonts to avoid. And then basically we're going to show you exactly how you're going to wanna embroider on this. It's actually very similar to how I embroider on towels. So if you have not seen that video, check it above. But yeah, so it's very similar to that, but of course you just definitely want to make sure that you are careful with fonts that you are selecting, because again, you are dealing with something that is going to be used all the time, right? It's not like a t-shirt where you're going to wear it every once in a blue moon, especially when it comes to baby blankets. You're probably going to be using them very often, as well as you will like a beach towel. So right now I'm in the communication with the customer who needs to kind of confirm the thread color that they want. So I just went ahead and sent them over my giant thread wall. So you have lots of options to choose from. Since this is pink and actually the interior looks like just a plain white. So yeah, lots of options. And this is the one thing that I really do love about customization is it is 100% custom and nobody will have anything like it. I mean, somebody could buy the same exact blanket, but they're not gonna have the font, they're not gonna have the thread, they're not gonna have the name. So everything is just, in my opinion, like chef's kiss. So I love that personal touch. So as soon as I get that thread confirmation color, then we will go ahead and jump in to the second step. So go ahead and watch how to avoid fonts. So one thing that I do want to mention, that when it comes to picking out specific fonts, you really just need to kind of be careful. I actually do pick up a lot of my fonts off of dafont.com, and I'll go ahead and list it below. However, the reason I'm making that comment is because sometimes it might not stitch out well, it might not look good, and I'll try to show a font on here and then maybe I can run it as an example so I can kind of explain it a little bit better. But of course, you know, there's certain fonts that you're going to run across that are going to be absolutely okay. However, you can see here actually clear as day, it like basically blanks out the A. So these are things that you need to make sure when you are presenting fonts to people, that of course they are going to be legible and they're gonna come through kind of clear. So this one actually is not too bad. Obviously you can kind of see it's a little bit, it's going to be wider, especially if you are going to be doing a large print. So do keep that in mind, especially when it is going on, you know, like a blanket, for example, because those could be easily pulled at. But there is a specific font that I kind of want to show you guys, just so you kind of get an idea of what I'm speaking about in regards to me not personally liking the way it stitches out. So let's find it here. So this is the one, it's called Pink Matte. And if you look closely, especially on the L here, like look how it's going to go in two different directions. And this is exactly how it's going to stitch out. So on here, there is going to definitely be a gap where it's going to be running this way and then it's going to come back up and stitch this way. I have accidentally used this before knowing what I was doing, and it does not look good. Like, just mark my word, just trust me on it. If anything, like I've mentioned multiple times, just run samples, making sure that it will stitch good. And to be honest, I really do like this font just because it does give little hearts above the eye, so it kind of just makes it like cute and dainty. However, I am going to go with Pinky Promise, and again, you can find that on dafont. And I actually really like the way that this looks. And so this is the font that we will be using. Now, of course, I will be using my, I think it's my 8x9 Mighty Hoop. So, of course, I'm trying to make it as large as I can because, again, the name is kind of on the smaller side. And as you guys can tell right here, it's really only 2 inches wide. So it's really not going to be that, it's not it's not going to be very tall. I guess this is the width. Yeah, this is the width, and then this is the length. Apparently, I'm not trusting my judgment call. So, of course, we're at 0, and then I'm just over like 7. So I'll probably make this just like a hair bigger, just because we want to make sure it is legible. And of course, since we have the room on the hoop, we might as well use it. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead, hit save as. I always do name it what I'm working on. And then for my Ricoma, you have to do DST. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now, put it on the USB and get it over to the machine. So since I have a lot of thread colors to offer, I'm gonna go ahead and pop up a photo of an example of what I would actually kind of send to them, just to see like, hey, here's some options that you can choose from. However, me, myself as well, will go ahead and pull some colors off, and then I will lay the blanket down. So I did go ahead, open it up. I'll lay the blanket down, and then I'll go ahead and kind of lay a few thread options next to it, so then they can kind of compare a little bit better as well, just to kind of help guide them, because of course it can be very overwhelming when you're seeing an entire wall of thread. So we actually went ahead and decided on this one. It looks kind of red on camera, but to be honest with you, it's kind of like it's actually pink, but it's kind of like a deep pink color. Just in case you guys are curious, since I do buy these from Candle Thread USA, I'll go ahead and link that video as well. This is number 7910, so it kind of gives you an idea. Of course, it will look a little bit better once you see it on the blanket. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of do pink on pink, because I did mention that white would honestly just be too light. So we just kind of wanted something bold and something that will really stand out. So let's go ahead. We have to thread this on the machine, as you can tell, and then we got to go ahead and hoop that blanket. Now for the blanket, I am going to be using this tearaway. I actually just pick it up on joanns.com, typically when they are running sales. So I'm only using this specifically because, of course, you don't want it to be shown in the back versus when you use your cutaway. So what I'm actually going to be doing is doubling this up. So I'm just going to go ahead and place my hoop here. I'm going to grab my scissors, and all that I'm actually going to do is just do that. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and honestly, I am going to just fold. Now, of course, we want to make sure that, okay, perfect. I know it's not like 100% good, but again, keep in mind the name is just going to be here. So that is exactly where the double is going to show. And what we are going to be doing is, now this is the fun part, because you get to pick exactly where you want it on the blanket. Now, commonly, I will go opposite of the tag, just preference, to be honest with you. Make sure that there is no other tag. And there's not. And I've actually come to really like, to be honest with you, the name just straight across here. Some people do request it to be in like a diagonal. Some people will request it to be, you know, up here, which I guess the way I look at it is that if the blanket was to be wrapped around the baby, I want it to be seen still. So again, you can kind of do it here, or if you want, you can do it up here. So let's go ahead. Let's kind of look at this. So this is going to be, I know it's really hard, but this is the long way, and then this is the short way. What do we want to do? So I'm actually going to be doing it on the short side right here. So of course I need to stick my hoop as well as my backing down, and then basically I'm going to lay the blanket on top, make sure it is centered. And now actually I am going to be putting it on this way, so technically I will have to flip my name around on the embroidery machine. So we can just, oh, it would be good if I put this hoop the correct way. And that happens to the best of us. Okay, so we're recentered and down. As I made mention, because I want the excess blanket to hang on the exterior of the machine, I will have to go ahead and flip the name around in my programmer. So it is actually super simple, to be honest with you. Let me go ahead and put this in place. We got that taken care of. I'm gonna go ahead and bring you in closer so we can show you exactly how to flip. All right, so once you have everything set up at this point, this is the name that I will be using. I did go ahead and make it just a hair larger just since I was able to, but basically your main screen is going to look like this. Once everything has been added to your machine, you're gonna go ahead and hit design setting and hit this F. The F will actually allow you to create all the different flips and angles that you need to do. And I need to make this 180 degrees. And then if you hit OK, as you see, the name will be flipped. Now at this point, as you can tell, the name is more centered, and I actually want the name to be higher up on the embroidery hoop. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit this arrow. Now, if you hit the center arrow, it will actually move much quicker for you. So I can typically do that. However, I do just leave it unchecked just because sometimes it will go too fast for me. So it's just preference. But yeah, so those are kind of two little tricks that you guys can use with your machine. To be honest with you, a lot of this is just kind of trial and error, and I've just learned along the way. You can also subscribe to my channel and I'll teach you it. So, you know, whatever works best for you. At this point, we've gone ahead and we've flipped everything. I'm actually just gonna do a quick trace out real quick, just to make sure that the placement is exactly where I want it on the blanket, which so far, so good. So that is wonderful. Another thing that you do have to have is actually, it's kind of like a waterproof solvent. I'm saying that word wrong, so sorry about that. I will go ahead and link it down below so you guys can pick it up. I just bought it on Amazon. And basically you're going to want to place it on top of here. And that's specifically because blankets as well as towels are washed often. So it actually just helps with the thread. It actually creates like a barrier in between the actual fabric as well as the thread. So it kind of lays a little bit nicer without it. Like they call it like kind of melting the thread like into the fabric. This barrier will help that it'll avoid it from happening. I can't get my words together. So let's go ahead. I will go ahead and cut it out, and then I will actually just pin it down just so I don't have to physically hold it and worry about my fingers possibly getting, you know, zinked by my needle. So this is my stabilizer that I'm specifically talking about. It is a water-based stabilizer. To be honest, the Racoma machine does come with a few of them. Just pick this up from Amazon. You'll thank me later, I promise you. The other one, it just comes in small squares versus this one is a lot bigger, and it just covers a lot more square feet. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick that back. Now these are my little pins that I use. I'm sure maybe you can see those there. And I'm basically just gonna go ahead and pin this in place. I'll stick one at the top and one at the bottom. And just so you are aware, no, you will not see these. So it is completely fine to just poke the hole in the fabric. And of course you want to make sure you are on the right color, which I am. I'm on 14 and I've already gone ahead. I've traced everything. So at this point, all that we have to do is just hit go. And then we'll be done with this quickly. So at this point, the name is actually done. And all that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut off any excess thread that I see before I pull away the water stabilizer, just because it avoids me from physically cutting the actual blanket. I want to call it a towel, so bear with me. So yeah, before I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and do some trimmings. And then another thing as well you can do if you really wanted to is you can just hit it with the lighter, which I am just on the A's. I don't know if you're going to pick it up on camera, but just like right here, it's kind of lifting just a hair. So I like to just hit it with a lighter just so it actually basically brings the thread back down. And it looks like I need to do a little bit of cleanup right here next to the E, which is, that's simple. I don't know if you guys caught that on my quick glance I showed you. Oop. Let's go ahead. You just have to cut that. Okay. Oop. Okay, just remember, don't hold it too long because again, you are dealing with thread. You don't want to burn the thread. You don't want to burn the fabric. And all that you're going to do at this point, honestly, is just tear it away. Be a little bit delicate. I mean, don't be like a wild animal, but as you guys can see, I'm not like taking my time, but again, I'm just kind of slightly pulling it. And it comes up as simple as that. It is so easy. Now, of course, like anything in between like the letters, I have 2 A's and an E. There is still stabilizer stuck in there. So what you can do is you use your water / conditioner to shake the bottle up, and then you can actually just hit it against it. And to be honest, not only does it make it smell really good when you deliver it, again, it's on a baby blanket, so more than likely the parent will wash this anyways before the baby comes. So don't worry about that. At least as far as I know, like every mother does that. But now the stabilizer just melts. So it just comes right off without needing to feel like I'm tugging at anything. So I'm just using the tip of my fingernail just to kind of pull at it a little bit. And again, it just came right up. Now all I'm gonna do is just take it off. So there is the name. And now I just have to remove the backing. Now again, since the backing is exposed and I'm dropping things, we're just gonna go ahead and just do a small trim. Again, I normally don't do this unless the back is specifically exposed, just because it can become time consuming if you're doing this with every single project you have. So do keep that in mind because time is money. But now at this point, we do have a custom blanket. So we have the name here on the front, which came out really cute. I made it as big as I possibly could. And then again, the back looks extremely clean, so we don't have to worry about anything. So yeah, it's as simple as that. Like I said, it's very similar to making a beach towel. So hopefully you guys did find this helpful. At least the font situation, I definitely want you guys to pay attention to that because, you know, you do not want to pick a font, the customer agreed with the font, and then you're having difficulties. So just try to avoid specific ones. I would love to just make a video strictly about fonts to maybe gravitate towards, fonts to avoid. So maybe in the future, I will have one of those videos posted. So make sure you are subscribing, and we will definitely see you on the next crafting project. Bye, everyone.